CTV News at 11:30 with Ian Campbell and Rick Wyman with weather.
Well, good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. We begin tonight with breaking news in Kapuskasing. OPP are now asking people in the area of King Street and Bowman Avenue to shelter in place. This latest update happening in the last 20 minutes or so. There has been a large police presence in the area for the better part of this evening. Residents are being asked to stay indoors, to keep their windows locked, and to stay away from the area until further notice. Details at this hour still very limited. We'll continue to follow this and bring you more information as it becomes available. North Bay police have released drone footage of a pursuit of suspects who were arrested for trafficking. An officer can be seen chasing the suspects and apprehending one of them. The other suspect was arrested shortly after. According to police, the pair from the Greater Toronto area were carrying $64,000 worth of cocaine along with nearly $2,500 in cash. Two people were arrested in Fort Albany First Nation yesterday as part of an ongoing drug trafficking investigation. More than $100,000 in drugs was seized from a residence, along with more than $25,000 in cash. Cocaine, meth, and fentanyl were also seized by Anishinaabe police. A 50-year-old snowmobiler from Goulet River has died as a result of injuries incurred late last night in a single vehicle crash. It happened around 11:15 p.m. on McGoggin Road in Goulet River. The crash, police say, is still under investigation. Well, the city of Timmins has decided on a site for a permanent homeless encampment that would provide shelter for around 44 people. The former Tembec sawmill location on Highway 101 is council's preferred site. Timmins Mayor Michelle Boileau says the Ministry of Natural Resources owns the large parcel of land and would lease a portion of it for the encampment. The mayor says the province wanted a decision on a location before it would release any funds.
With it being, a project-ready site, we're hopeful that we'll be able to have more appropriate shelter options in a matter of months. Of course, it'll be dependent on what kind of response we receive from our ministry partners. But the goal here is really to be able to shelter people, during these winter months. And so I would say that definitely weighed heavily into the decision around this site.
I don't think there's a perfect location. I think any location that we table would have opposition from one segment of the community or another. I think this location, given the feedback we've been given in terms of the likelihood of its existing zoning provisions being applicable and allowing this type of activity, make it one of the only locations that have been presented to us that may be able to meet some of the timelines that we've been given in terms of having an agreement in place by the end of the year.
Black adds if the council hadn't decided on a location by the end of the month, it risked losing $3.2 million in provincial funding. Well, despite a ruling from the city's integrity commissioner, Timmins Council has voted not to reprimand two councillors for remarks made about the mayor. The integrity commissioner ruled councillors John Curley and Bill Gazdanovich made disparaging remarks about the city's mayor during a special council meeting back in June. A meeting Mayor Michelle Boileau ended. Tuesday night, council voted down motions to reprimand the two councillors 5-3, saying the ruling by the integrity commissioner was sanction enough. The Go Give project in Sudbury says it's facing a funding crisis and it may be forced to shut down critical outreach programs in the new year. CTV's Amanda Hicks reports.
On any given night, the Go Give project helps up to 200 people experiencing homelessness, substance use, and mental health challenges, connecting them to treatment and care. But now the future of its core services, known as Welcoming Streets and mobile outreach programs, are hanging in the balance, with funding set to expire on December 31st.
We are facing uncertainty as far as funding challenges go. Throughout 2025, we have stably operated our Welcoming Streets and mobile outreach program. The two are very closely integrated together. And as we come up to January, we still don't have any clear answers on what that funding might be looking like.
With the deadline fast approaching, the not-for-profit has already been forced to lay off 11 staff members. Community outreach worker Nakoma Van Every is one of them.
It's a little tough, especially right around the holidays. I'm more worried about our guys that are out on the streets. Because I know a lot of them depend heavily on our service, from simple things like just giving them a ride to somewhere where they can access other services, or just a friendly face to help them out on a day where they might be having a tough time.
The Welcoming Streets program mediates issues downtown by connecting vulnerable individuals with services, while the mobile outreach program delivers essentials and harm reduction supplies to those in need during late night hours. Up until now, downtown Sudbury offered financial support to keep the programs running.
We definitely had discussions where, the impression may have been that there would be additional support from the business improvement area, but again, their board has collectively decided that this should be municipally funded, and we do support that decision.
CTV News reached out to downtown Sudbury. In a statement, it said in part, "From the BIA's perspective, this funding was always intended as a pilot project. We will soon be launching a new collaborative program with community partners designed to streamline support." We did not receive a response from the City of Greater Sudbury in time for broadcast. In the meantime, the Go Give project is calling on the community for help through its Giving Tree campaign, with a goal of raising $100,000 to keep its life-saving outreach services running until the end of March. Details can be found on its website or their social media pages. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
Sudbury residents are getting a sneak peek at what will be in the final draft of the city's updated downtown master plan. CTV's Angela Campbell has more.
About a dozen residents check out displays and speak to representatives about the future vision for Sudbury's downtown.
People are starting to see the opportunities again downtown, especially with the new event center coming, the art gallery, the library, and we're starting to see that buzz return.
This was the third community session over the past year for the city to garner public input for its updated downtown master plan, although today's event presented the feedback from those previous sessions. The master plan outlines ways to revitalize the core through economic, cultural, and retail activity. It had included a list of projects, but most have been completed. This updated draft plan is meant to better reflect current priorities.
The major things are how are we reacting to the event center and the cultural hub? So what do we need to put around those projects to support those projects, but also to support downtown revitalization? So there's ideas for more residential development, hotel development, more commercial development, and so all these ideas are coming through.
Landry says this latest plan includes livability and well-being in the downtown, but much of those details and actions are already within the city's homelessness initiatives. None of the residents at the session wanted to go on camera, but many told CTV they either live or frequent the core.
People care about downtown. There's a massive portion of the population that really wants to see downtown thriving again. And we're getting people come out and add their comments and add those contributions so that it's a real community-wide plan.
The updated draft downtown plan will be presented to City Council in late January or early February. Landry says if City Council adopts the blueprint, city staff will return later in the year with a 10-year action strategy to implement the plan, including budget realities. Angela Campbell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Fire damage this year has doubled in Sudbury. That according to a report headed to municipal committee next week. According to the documents, $15.6 million in damage was caused by fire this year, compared to $7.2 million last year. Among the most damaging fire this year was the January fire at Poulain Potatoes in Azilda that caused $2.6 million. That was followed by the fire in July at a rooming house on Whitaker Street that caused $1 million in damages. Well, it's Wednesday, and every Wednesday we take time out to sit down with a mayor from around our region in a segment we call the Mayor's Chair. And earlier tonight I spoke with Mayor Raymond Belanger of Mattawa, where they're still looking at the idea of amalgamation.
I know the council from town of Mattawa asked the township of Matawan to enter in some talks, and the response wasn't favorable. And since then, the township of Matawan has asked the town of Mattawa for some firefighting service to be expanded into their township. And this is an opportunity now to let's put everything on the table, including amalgamation, shared services, firefighting, etc. And we're waiting for a response from the Township of Matawan.
Talk to me a little bit about the opportunity. Why, or I guess what might be the benefits here?
Well, that's exactly what we want to make sure we know. We would like the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing to have a say in it, to explore all the possibilities. What are the pros and cons for both sides? Obviously, Mattawa is landlocked. We're one of the smallest 10 municipalities in Ontario as far as landmass goes. We are 3.67 square kilometer. So entering an area of 200 square kilometers would be beneficial.
Our thanks to Mayor Belanger. That full interview is up on our YouTube feed and on our website at CTV News Northern Ontario.ca. Next week, we'll sit down with Timmins Mayor Michelle Boileau. Time now for a short break here on CTV News. Coming up, Rick will have your full weather forecast. For now, look at the current conditions, and it is chilly compared to last night, but that's still pretty average for some of us. Minus 15 in Kapuskasing, minus 14 in Timmins. Still seeing some flurries up there. Minus 16, the chilly spot in Elliott Lake. Minus 10 in Gore Bay, minus 10 in Parry Sound. A few flurries in Sudbury and North Bay. We'll have details in a moment.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Weather story for this evening. Some colder weather overnight. We managed to get rid of the flurries and, of course, the snow squalls for the last couple of days. Let's check out our forecast radar. You can see that system making its way into the province of Quebec. And again, no precipitation, or at least noticeable precipitation for tomorrow. We've got some sunshine coming into the forecast, as you are about to see. With the 7-day numbers, Sudbury Nickel Belt, mainly cloudy tomorrow, minus 9, minus 7 Friday, sunshine. Saturday, 60% chance of flurries, minus 9. And again, take a look at those temperatures at night, minus 16 and minus 15 the next night. Monday, chance of flurries, minus 9 and minus 7 Tuesday with the sun and cloud. Let's take a look now at Sault Ste. Marie Algoma. Chance of flurries, again, as I said last night, for no less than 5 consecutive days. Minus 5 Thursday, minus 4 Friday, minus 9 Saturday, Sunday, minus 6 and minus 4 your expected highs over the course of that 5-day stretch. Meanwhile, in Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, same story there. Chance of flurries, no less, for 5 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Some of the temperatures vary somewhat compared to Sault Ste. Marie Algoma. Minus 10 your high tomorrow, minus 9 Friday, minus 13 Saturday, minus 15 Sunday, minus 11 Monday and Tuesday with the cloud cover at minus 10. How about Timiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake? Chance of flurries tomorrow, the odd sunny break at minus 9. Sun and cloud Friday, minus 8. Chance of flurries for 3 consecutive days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, minus 9, minus 14, and minus 10 your expected highs. Rather cold at night, Saturday, Sunday, with lows going down to minus 17. Tuesday's forecast, cloud cover and minus 8, your normal temperature for this year, around minus 6, so colder for a couple of nights and days compared to what is normally expected for this time of the year. How about North Bay, West Nipissing? Chance of flurries tomorrow, minus 9, minus 7 Friday. Mainly sunny skies. Saturday, chance of flurries, minus 7. Minus 12 Sunday, some sun and cloud. Chance of flurries Monday, minus 8. And minus 6 on Tuesday with the sun and cloud. Your normal temperature around minus 3. Ian, get used to the colder weather. Some flurries in a day or so, but at least we'll get to see the sunshine. Back to you on the desk.
And no squalls. Thanks so much, Rick. Well, the City of North Bay and the Department of National Defense are extending their agreement to treat and remove forever chemicals. CTV's Eric Tashner reports.
It's a two-pronged approach to treat forever chemicals, PFAS, while also protecting the North Bay drinking water supply.
We would love to be able to eliminate. However, right now we're at the stage of mitigating.
The airport is where firefighter training from the mid-1970s until the late 1990s took place. The substances seeped into the soil. The airport is near Lees Creek, which connects to Trout Lake, where the city draws its municipal water.
Over the past 9 years, more than 160 wells have been sampled. Testing showed that there's 25 private wells that exceeded provincial guidelines.
The current level of PFAS in the municipal water supply remains lower than the interim guidance level provided by the province of 70 nanograms per liter. However, it is above Health Canada's final objective of 30 nanograms of PFAS per liter. 4 years ago, the city and Department of National Defence agreed on a $20 million mission to remove and treat PFAS, with DND covering 97% of the cost. Remediation work began at the airport in fall 2024. 26,000 tons of contaminated soil was removed and disposed of from the so-called PFAS hotspot. The city and DND have now agreed to extend the airport soil removal and cleanup until 2037.
We move together and we work together to make sure that everybody's drinking water is safe.
The cost is now pegged at a whopping $122 million, with the federal government still responsible for the 97% share. The city's portion is around $4 million.
We can work towards areas that do have PFAS impacts in the soil, however, not at the same concentration, as well as focusing now on surface water and groundwater.
$8 million was also approved so the city can conduct a 6-month pilot project at the water treatment plant to find an effective way to treat the PFAS.
Then we can move to an efficient and effective design for an upgrade.
A long-standing drinking water advisory for Lees Creek remains in place. There's also an advisory for eating fish from the creek. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
15 hybrid wolf dogs have been relocated by the Ministry of Natural Resources in Greater Sudbury. Conservation officers and vets seized the animals today. CTV's Elena Everson reports.
A wolf dog under sedation is loaded in a trailer to be checked on before being transported to an approved licensed wildlife facility in Ontario. The Ministry of Natural Resources was on site at a Wanapitei property, enforcing a court order to seize the animals.
We've got conservation officers that are here as part of the Sudbury Enforcement Unit. We also have staff from the Bearwise program that have expertise with relocating wildlife, specifically large wildlife. And then we also have a team of vets that are here as well.
The MNR says some of the hybrid wolf dogs were chemically immobilized to be handled safely and secured for transport.
With regards to today, we've got a variety of specialized equipment, including staff that are trained in chemical immobilization. So if required, we may need to chemically immobilize some of these animals in order to get them into crates, and then we can use the reversal drugs to wake them back up and then be able to transport them safely.
The former owner of the dogs was on his property during the seizure, helping to calm the animals as best he could. He says it's a sad day, but one he knew was coming.
I feel very lucky, actually, because it could have been a lot worse. Like, prime example, that would have been like in BC when, you know, they showed up and euthanized all those ostriches. At least with my dogs, it's not going to be the same case. And at least I know they're leaving this property alive.
The animals were moved in trailers and bear traps, modified with plywood to enhance their safety and comfort during transport.
We're looking at public safety here today, and we're also wanting to make sure that the animals are well cared for and that they're transported safely here today.
As of our deadline, the MNR did not get back to us about the location of the approved wildlife facility, or if the hybrid wolf dogs will be living together as one unit. Elena Everson, CTV News, Wanapitei.
The Ontario building and construction tradeswomen are calling for mandatory anti-discrimination and anti-harassment training across the Ontario construction industry. CTV's Madison Merrier has more.
There's nothing worse than having that gut feeling of I don't want to go to work because you know you're going to be bullied.
The OPCT wants to make anti-discrimination and anti-harassment training mandatory as they feel there is a gap in retention.
Individuals will have the policy posted. It talks about what to do, but there was never any preventative steps or measures to help stop it before it happens, right? Having a policy just alone is very reactive, and what we're trying to do is be proactive in our industry
In a survey done by the OBCT of 342 women, 52% indicated they have experienced harassment on the work site. And of those, 51% reported feeling unsatisfied with how the situation was handled.
The demand for tradespeople in general is so high right now. We can't refuse people just because of their gender or their skin color or their preferences. It has nothing to do with your ability to do a trade.
The Occupational Health and Safety Act says companies are required to develop and maintain a written program to implement the policy with respect to workplace harassment.
So every organization is required to have a health and safety policy and a violence and harassment policy in their workplace. And it's a testament or a commitment to preventing those bad things from happening in the workplace.
So there's a little line in there that a lot of people get confused, and it says there has to be a policy and training, but the training is training on the policy, meaning for the individuals who need that policy, they'll just talk about what the steps are in the policy, where the policy will be posted, and that's simply where it stops. While other provinces have a little section in the legislation where it talks about it's mandatory to have preventative harassment training, not just on the policy.
We reached out to the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development for a comment, and we did not receive a response by our deadline. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Still ahead tonight on CTV News. Downtown Sudbury gets together those who took part in this year's Santa Claus Parade to celebrate the best of the best. Oh, what a night for junior hockey down at the GFL Memorial Gardens. It was a tough matchup for our Sioux Greyhounds taking on the visiting Kitchener Rangers. And would go into overtime, but the Hounds win this one. Chase Reed with a goal, Christopher Brown with 1 goal and 2 assists to help the hometown team with their 3-2 victory. A new survey shows that Canadian parents are feeling the holiday shopping stress. In an Interact survey, 3/4 of parents said that creating a magical holiday for their kids is a top priority. But 2/3 say rising costs are making it harder for them to manage their holiday spending. 1 in 5 say they're relying on grandparents to help them provide that holiday cheer. 1/3 of parents say their grandparents spend more on gifts for their kids than they do. In the north, concern around the cost and spending are in line with the national poll. Many saying they are concerned about rent in particular.
Keeping up with everyday payments, groceries, living expenses are getting a little too high for everyone, I think. That's basically it.
Just the average.
Just the average every day. That used to be a little bit more affordable that aren't anymore.
Well, rent is insane. Like even to rent a 1-bedroom studio apartment, they want $900. I'm on ODSP, I get 15. What can I live on?
Well, most of it is everything is so expensive nowadays. By the time you pay your rent and buy groceries, most people don't have money to shop like they used to.
I think for the majority of people kind of in my age group, mid to late 20s up into their 30s, is really just making sure that they have enough money until their next paycheck to make sure that they can have rent and food on the table, especially for those that have family or have people that they have to support.
Well, the mood was a festive one and lively tonight as Sudburyans who took part in this year's Sudbury Santa Claus Parade gathered to celebrate the best of the best. Awards were handed out in all sorts of various categories tonight. Organizers say this year's turnout was a big success. The theme of the parade was Christmas movies, businesses, not-for-profits, radio stations, even CTV here with us. We all decked out our entries to spread holiday cheer.
Everybody's energy was amazing. Like if you watch the crowd as you drive by, everybody was happy and smiling and screaming and clapping. I was goosebumps the whole time. My face was just constantly smiling.
I was down there at this year's parade, and it was great seeing all of those smiles. Congratulations to all the winners. And this was the scene down at French River tonight as the municipality held its annual volunteer dinner. From the Lions Club to the seniors clubs and just about everything in between, those who gave back to their community were celebrated. In particular, those who helped the one day back in April for their work in sheltering those stranded by a winter storm on Highway 69. I think at least 100 people probably were rescued from that winter storm and the highway that night, and given shelter makes you proud to be a Northerner, knowing all those people we have that give back to their communities. Thank you for what you do. That takes us to the end of our newscast this Wednesday night. For the latest news anytime, remember you can head to our website, ctvnewsnorthernontario.ca. You can also download our CTV News app. Thanks for watching. Good night.